Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's just see that my volume levels are good. Let's go ahead and make some adjustments. And then we're going to check and see if you guys can hear me pretty well on the other end. Alrighty, great. Alright, let's get started. What's going on, y'all? It's me coming back again with another live hangout vid. Okay. I see a few people, loud and clear. Great Rock, what's going on, brother? Dwayne Jones, what's going on, man? See some people climbing in slowly. It's been a few days, or actually a week since I did a live hangout. So, let's get myself back into the groove. I got lots of things to cover here. Lots of news of that. Obviously you see the title on the of my hangout now. Now, before hey, what's going on? 1224529. What's going on, sister? Hey, do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button on the description side. That'd be great. I really appreciate it. What's going on, Ray Sean? What's going on, Chill Zoe? Yo. What's happening? Just got off work. Well, I got off work a few hours ago, but had a little dinner. Washed up a bit, so thought I'd get on here to chop it up. But I won't be on here too long because, of course, I gotta get up in the morning. But I'll be here probably about a couple hours. But anyways, I got Hey, I'm glad you're blessed, sister. I'm glad you're blessed. Well, I got a rant, okay? Because it seems to me that there's an idiot or the bitch, not the one I'm referring to in Taiwan, who just can't seem to stay off my channel. And better yet, he just keeps taking snipes at me, all right? Let me tell you something, okay? I know you're an AJ fanboy, all right? That's your prerogative, okay? But the fact is that I see that you continue to target people like me and others who want to give Deontay Wilder the benefit of the doubt and go after him for every contradictory statement that he makes, but yet you refuse to do it to AJ. Okay? Why? Because you have this hatred for the LDBC. Fair enough. That's your problem. Okay? But it seems like you didn't take very kindly. No, Olaf, what's going on, man? It's not Sean. Had nothing to do with it. It's somebody else, not Sean. And to somebody else that I'm referring to knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention his name because I'm not trying to give him any type of subscribers or viewership that he desperately needs right now. That's the reason why he's trolling people like me. But anyways, let me tell you something, all right? To this bitch over, this bitch, not Sean Newton. That's another bitch. Let me tell you something, okay? When I mentioned you didn't take kindly to what I said of my last video about Anthony Joshua and Dillian White possible rematch for July 21st, okay? You took exception to the comment where I said that before the Lucas Brown knockout, Dillian White didn't look great in his previous fights, which is true. He didn't, particularly against Robert Helenius. In that particular fight, I wasn't the only one that came out and said that Dillian White may not be ready for a world title fight based off his last few performances. That was Hatman that said it, who you respect. EJ said it. EJ Boxing Live. Charlie Brown Boxing said it, who you probably don't respect. And of course, the one and only Carl Froch even came out and said it. Look at the interviews. He came out and said that Dillian White's not ready for Deontay Wilder fight based off that his last few performances before the Lucas Brown knockout. Okay? Now, until Dillian White came out and gave a very impressive performance against Lucas Brown, yes, he looked very impressive. He looks ready to me. He's improved. I said before that Lucas Brown fight, if he thinks he's ready for a world title shot, I don't think so. He needs to make a serious adjustment in his next fight. Many others, including myself, had said that. All right, and then you're gonna sit there and say that I'm a clown because I'm the one who pushed Wilder to fight Luis Ortiz, and Luis Ortiz struggled against Daniel Marks and Lee Scott. No, first of all, yes, Luis Ortiz didn't look good against Lee Scott, but he looked better in that fight than fucking Dillian White looked against Robert Helenius. And Lee Scott is a guy who does make other fighters look bad. No surprise there. And Daniel Marks, you're way off on that one. Luis Ortiz knocked him out in 2 rounds. So I don't see how he struggled in that fight. Unless you have some bit of unless you do have some vision issues or something like that, because you are getting up in age. I suggest you check that out. But anyways, if you want to keep taking snipes at me, I suggest you hit me up privately so we can talk about it man to man or come on my live hangout. All right. So that's it to it. I'm not going to put in much time to it. It's addressing you. But if you're gonna keep taking snipes at me, I'll be ready for you. Straight up. All right, back to the task at hand. Oh, by the way, before I get to that, all right, this is the same guy who said that fucking Joseph Parker would beat Luis Ortiz, and he said that Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua fight would be better than Wilder and Ortiz. Okay, all right. Wow, 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 wow. So yeah, you can tell who's on. Somebody's off the deep end when they make comments like that. Joseph Parker could beat Luis Ortiz. Now, no disrespect to Joseph. Yes, he's a good fighter, but okay, that's a matter of opinion. But to say that Joseph Parker and Luis Ortiz fight, Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua fight would be better than Wilder and Parker. I mean, better than Wilder and Ortiz. Yeah, you're way off on that. Nope, it's not low place, guys. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not giving him no shine, straight up. But he knows what I'm talking about if he's watching this. But anyways, back to the task at hand. What's going on, Mr. Doc? All right, let's talk about what happened today. Adrien Broner. The Fox Strike says that Parker could give Ortiz a challenge. Yeah, I did say he could give him a challenge, but he ain't winning. I don't see him winning that fight. No way in hell. I don't think his handlers would even put him in there against Luis Ortiz. No way. Ortiz can't go 12 rounds. I mean, he did go 12 rounds against Malik Scott. Olive. He did. That's only if you push Ortiz hard. That's the thing. That's the only thing. He'll go if you push him hard. He won't make it 12 rounds, just like Wilder did. Now Joseph Parker doesn't have the power or the speed and an awkwardness or the awkwardness like Wilder does. Now Joseph is a textbook fighter. He does have unbelievable punching. I mean, combination punching, but I just don't think he has enough pop to get Luis Ortiz respect. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about that press conference. Mr. Doc says, "Oh, that tool shed, Dan. I got you. Yeah, Mr. Doc knows what I'm talking about." Let's see. Let me see. I agree. Give him nothing. I know, Mr. Doc. We'll talk about that offline. Let me see. Broner seriously needs to go to a mental hospital. Yeah, he does, man. That press conference was crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. All I gotta say is that Adrien Broner, I mean, he may be a clown, but the one thing Adrien Broner does do is that he knows how to sell a fucking fight. Real talk. He knows how to sell a fight. All right. He reminds me of a Ricardo Mayorga, even though he is a better technical fighter than Mayorga. I will say this though: he may not, he may come up short in his big fights, but whenever he does fight, he does generate a lot of interest, and he's actually sparked my interest even further for this Jesse Vargas fight after that press conference. All right. Now he may be sounding a little genuine when he went up there and went off on people who keeps mentioning who keeps referring to his previous mishaps. You know what I mean by that? His mishaps against Marcos Maidana, Sean Porter, and recently Mikey Garcia. So the thing is that Adrien is really upset that he feels he's got people who I think he really felt that guys like Ellaby and Floyd, those guys, Mayweather Promotions, he thought they had his back and he felt betrayed by them. And yeah, there was one interview a couple years back that Floyd did kind of snipe him a lot in one interview. It really threw him under the bus, and Adrien was really hurt by that because he thought Floyd was going to protect him and back him up no matter what the transgressions that he was going through. But the fact is that yeah, Floyd didn't. You know what I mean, but Floyd was telling the truth though to some degree. But I think it was kind of like wrong for Floyd to do it in public. He did it on publicly to tarnish Broner, and Broner felt that look, if you had a problem with me, talk to me man to man. But after that, it seems like Broner hasn't gone over that. So he's taking snipes he didn't take a snipe at Floyd at the press conference, but he definitely took he was there taking snipes at Leonard Ellaby. So that right there was unexpected. And Leonard Ellaby tried to be professional as he could, but he just, he's not gonna. You're not gonna out talk Adrien Broner in trash talking. Straight up, the only guy I think who was able to do that was Paulie Malignaggi. He was the only guy that can out talk Adrien Broner. And Paulie is a master of trash talking. You will never out talk him. Pretty much never. So let's see. But the thing is, though, looking at that fight, I know a lot of people. I'm favoring Vargas to win it, but looking at Adrien Broner's his emotions and his demeanor and attitude, the way he's training for this fight, I don't know, man. It looks like a 50-50 fight to me because I might have to. I'm not gonna say, now I'm gonna be pretty much almost undecided on who wins this fight. But then again, I'm a slightly favorite Vargas to win it. I'm not like I overwhelmingly said he's gonna win it, but based off that press conference, I don't know. Adrian Broner's made me a bit of a believer. But hey, it's fair to say that he's always done things like that leading up to a fight. So we'll see. Let's look at the comment section. Dwayne Jones says Adrian Broner was too much today. Yeah, absolutely. Rock, I did read your comment. 1224529. That press conference was a hot mess. Okay. Let me see. Olaf the Mighty. How would Ortiz keep up with that work rate? He doesn't have the power to hurt Parker. Well, going back to that, Olaf. Um, Yeah, Joseph could make him work, but the thing about Ortiz, the reason why he gassed out is because he went for it against Wilder. He thought he could get him out in the seventh round, but he wasted all his shots, which spent all his energy. He pretty much emptied the gas tank, as you want to call it, and he thought he could get Wilder out of there when he had him hurt, but it proved to be a grave mistake because now when you going up against Deontay Wilder, you're going to need more than just, I would say, a kitchen sink to knock this guy out. And you're going to have to preserve your energy to go in the later rounds against him because when Wilder was able to withstood that type of punishment and barrage, that was it for Ortiz. He just didn't have anything left. So if Parker can do that somehow and withstand the ferocity and the power attack from Ortiz, then maybe he could take advantage of it. But let's be fair, though. When Anthony Joshua was gassing a bit, Joseph didn't take advantage of that situation. But to be fair, you could say he couldn't because the referee wouldn't allow him to. But still, though, you know, I just don't see Parker winning that fight. No, no disrespect to Joseph, but I just don't see him winning that fight. I really don't see it. All right, let me see here, Mr. Doc. I know you said that Parker can throw 3 million punches and not hurt as much as one right hand from Wilder. I agree. I mean, Joseph, at first I thought he was, when he was knocking out these lower level opposition, I thought he had snap at his punches, but looking at how Carlos Takam was able to take those shots that he normally knocks guys out with, I said, man, I mean, Carlos Takam is a guy who's very durable. He has a great chin, but I mean, after Takam, and then you had guys like Huey Fury. I mean, Huey Fury was moving around way too much, so Joseph couldn't really catch him cleanly, I should say. So, yeah, and what's his name? The other guy, his sparring partner, Ravi Kajanu, took Parker's best shots, and he couldn't even knock him out. So, yeah, I don't know. So Mayorga was even trying to hurt himself, though. Well, Rock, here's the thing about Ricardo Mayorga. Ricardo Mayorga knew that he was technically outgunned going to his fights against his opponents. He knew the only way he could beat his opponents was to win the psychological warfare against them, which he was successful to some degree against the likes of Andrew Lewis and Vernon Forrest, who are much better technical sound fighters, much more skillful fighters than Ricardo Mayorga. But what Mayorga was able to do is that he was able to play the mind games against these guys so well to the point that these guys were pretty much, he lured them into the fight that he wanted. Stand toe to toe, give me a chance to beat you and beat you down and hurt you. And that's exactly what they did. They thought they could, stand up to him, play the macho game, and it just didn't work. I mean, Andrew Lewis, for the most part, tried to outbox Mayorga in the second fight. But the fact is that um, I just don't think. I think Andrew Lewis was just too intimidated by Mayorga. He knew the fact that Lewis just knew he couldn't hurt him. He just was really timid. He was just flicking his jab out there to try to keep him at bay, but that just didn't work. Mayorga just didn't care. He didn't give him no respect. As far as Vernon Forrest, same thing. Knocked him out, blew through him in the first fight in 3 rounds, which no one saw coming. And then in the second fight, he had Vernon Forrest running, pretty much back it up during the entire fight. So, yeah, that's the only way he could beat you is get you to fight his fight. But if you do what Corey Spinks did, yes, Corey Spinks almost lost the psychological warfare against Mayorga leading up to their undisputed championship fight back in 2003. But Corey Spinks made Mayorga look so bad to the fact that he was a one-dimensional fighter, which he was. You know, he outboxed him, kept him at bay, made him miss so many fucking shots, and Mayorga just didn't know what to do. You know, so it is what it is. Uh, so as far as Broner, yeah, Broner is totally different than Mayorga. Let's see. Let's see. So all up to what Parker would win is on the cards. I don't know, man. He's gonna need a lot of work to beat Ortiz. If I don't think his analysts will put him near him, to tell you the truth. Olaf says, "Good, we're debating this because the more the interest the fans see, more likely that the Ortiz and Parker fight could happen. It would be a good one. Yeah, it would be a good one, but I don't see Parker winning that fight. I'm just being honest. I just don't see him winning that fight." Mr. Doc says that Parker would get beat up because he get stopped similar fashion to how Brian James got done. Yeah, that's the thing about Joseph. If he think he can win the exchanges and inside against Ortiz, that is suicide. That's why Wilder stood away from him in the inside and kept his range because he knew that was suicide to try to fight Ortiz close up. Because Brian Jennings tried that throughout the course of the fight and he was getting beat up in there. So that's the one thing Joseph is going to have to look out for. Do not try to exchange Ortiz in the inside. You're going to have to try to box him from long range and find a way to keep him, at bay at the end of your jab. And that's very difficult to do because Wilder had a tough time doing that in this fight. So, yeah. Broner shut down Leonard down. That shit was funny. Yeah, Dwayne, that was some funny shit, man. Um, that was some funny shit. Shia Bacali says that did Deontay put a counter offer out there yet? We haven't heard anything officially, but according to a Showtime executive on Instagram, this executive had learned who's close to the situation said that there was a counter offer that will be presented. I think it's a 60-40. I don't know what the rest of the provisions entail in that counter offer, which I'll get to in a second because let's be honest, that fight was never going to happen. I'll get into the details of why it was never going to happen from the begin with when Hearn sent that offer over, and I will dig in deep into that further and give you my input because I haven't really had a chance to do it here. Mr. Doc said I definitely want to watch Ortiz versus The Rock. You talking about you calling Joseph Parker The Rock, man? But hey, The Rock is half Samoan, so hey. Olive the Mighty, I got Broner on this one, Fox. Vargas is mediocre. Hey, you know what? Like I said, man, looking at that press conference, I mean, it looks like it's a 50-50 fight. I'm going to slightly favor Vargas still. Yeah, but, I probably won't be surprised if Broner wins this fight. Because Vargas looked pretty intimidating in that press conference. I'm not going to lie to you. He did. And that's the first time I've ever seen Jesse Vargas be intimidated by anybody. So that was a bit unusual. That was kind of uncharacteristic for Jesse Vargas. The Fight Strike says that none of that I heard. Allegedly, he already lined up from Brazil. Yeah, I mean, that was rumors that fight's been signed and delivered. Just waiting for an announcement. But I know a lot of people are, some people are upset about that because it's like, well, why would you fight Brazil even though you came out and said that you don't want to fight Dillian White because you don't want to fight a leftover from Anthony Joshua? That's another thing I want to get into because Deontay Wilder say things that could contradict himself. So I'm not sure. I don't recall. If anybody can point to a source when he said that, please let me know. But that's what I'm hearing because that is a bit of a double standard if you're going to say that, Deontay. If you're going to take on Brazil, where is a Joshua leftover, by the way, then how can you say that you don't want to fight White, who is a Joshua leftover? You say you don't want to fight leftovers of Anthony Joshua. And to be fair, they're both fighting each other leftovers. They both are doing that shit. So let's be real. I mean, all heavyweights do that. Evander and I'm not going to go into all that. But I'm just saying many fighters fight each other leftovers. They recycle each other opponents. Like Roy Jones and Darius Mitchell Zuski did that back in light heavyweight. But let me catch up the comments. These are good comments coming in. Let me see. Mr. Doc says, I got Vargas, but I have much faith in Vargas' ability as I do in Broner. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point to be made. I'm with you on that one, Mr. Doc, but I'm slightly going to favor him on this one. So let me see. Rock, when was the last time Broner threw a punch? What do you mean? Do you mean when was the last time he landed a punch? Is that what you mean, Rock? I think that's cool. No picks. Broner is too inconsistent. Yeah, I mean that's a good point, Fox. I mean he's just so inconsistent. You just don't know what to expect from Adrien Broner. He could definitely sell a fight, but when it comes to his, going up against big live opponents, I mean big time live opponents, he just fails, man. He just fails. And let's just, I mean, Jesse Vargas, if he does win, is it a redemption win for him? But the question is that what weight class is he going to stay in? Is he going to stay at 140? He's going to stay at 147. If he thinks he's going to compete at 147, advise against it. He needs to stay away from 147 because there's killers up there. He lost to one of them, Sean Porter. So he's going to have to stay at 140. That's my take on it because Mikey Garcia vacated his belt at 140. So he could definitely go grab the IBF belt if he wins against Vargas. In my opinion, he could go ahead and grab it if he can get a ranking by him. So that'd be challenging. Let's see. Mayorga is better than AB. Please don't compare him to that asinine buffoon. Wing King, what's going on, man? Well, technically, Mayorga is not as good as Broner, technically, but as far as resume, yeah, Mayorga does have a better resume than Adrien Broner, and that's a fact. He does, despite the many losses he has on his record. But Mayorga was a lineal, and he was a lineal and a unified champion at 147. Yeah, he knocked out the number one guy, pound for pound, Vernon Forrest, which many perceived at that time. Beat Andrew Lewis. He retired Fernando Vargas at 154. Picked up a belt up there. Beat Michelle Piccirillo, the same guy that beat Corey Spinks, even though Mayorga lost to Spinks. So, Mayorga does have better wins than Broner does. So that's a good point, Wing King. That's a good point. Uh, let's see what else we got here. Ortiz had to go for broke. The judges were paid off. Well, I know you're talking about that scorecard at the fight ended. It does look a little odd, but at the same time, those swing rounds, those early rounds, Ortiz barely nicked them, so they could have gone either way. So I could see where the judges are coming from, but I still had Ortiz up by a point. So, but as far as him being Wilder being up by 3 points, yeah, that was a bit off, a little bit off before the knockout of Ortiz. Olaf says Ortiz is kind of slow now. I mean, he's clearly not the same fighter from 2014 that beat Jennings. I think Brazil would be a good test for Wilder. Yeah, you know what, Olaf? Even though Wilder would be contradicting himself if he sign up to fight Ortiz from what Eddie Hearn is saying. So I guess Eddie Hearn does have that inside information that it's being confirmed. But Dom Brazil is going to push him. He's going to push him after the AJ loss. He has become a better fighter. Still technically not good. I know Wilder gets criticized for having lack of technique, but Brazil definitely has no technique. But what he does have heart, and he'll keep coming forward until you knock him out. That's how it is. And Brazil gets hit a lot. I mean, he took bombs from, of course, AJ hit him with some bombs, and it took AJ 7 rounds to get him out here, and that took a lot of hard work. Ugano hit him with some bombs, and in their fight, 5 rounds. Of course, Ugano he gassed out because he tried to get him out. And he was trying to impress, he was trying to make an impression on his U.S. debut. Of course, he just gassed out, and Brazil capitalized on it. And Brazil beat Amir Mansour before he fought Joshua. So Brazil is going to be a tough one for Wilder. But I just don't see. But the thing is that Brazil, when he gets hit with that right, man, it's going to be a problem. And some people said he won't last 3 rounds. Maybe he'll last longer than that. I think he'll last at least 6 rounds, in my opinion. I think he will. But if Wilder does get him out in 2 rounds, I'm like, ooh, boy. That's something I didn't see coming. Let me see. I'm rocking with AJ, Dan, but it's not going to be an easy fight. You know what? Here, 122. If you believe AJ is going to beat Wilder, no problem. I'm not going to argue against that. But the one thing I would say is that it won't be easy work for AJ, in my opinion. It will not be easy work, as many of the I say the fanboys are saying. But the thing is that if AJ does make easy work of Wilder, I'll be very impressed. I'll be very impressed. I mean, this is boxing; anything can happen. Everything's unpredictable, or should I say that when it comes to boxing, everything is not inevitable. So, yeah. Let me see. We're going back and forth about the Ortiz and Parker fight. Let's see if that actually does get made, but I just don't see Joseph going near that guy. I just don't see it happening, but we'll see. Let me see. Let me see. I think that's what I said. Allegedly not confirmed. Are you talking about the Wilder and Brazil fight, Fox? Let me see. I heard about that too. I'm still 78 sources Wilder, but then what's the number or the offer? Well, we don't know the details yet, so we're probably gonna expect an announcement probably next week. I would give it take. So yeah, Olaf is trying to guarantee Brazil gets Parkinson's. That's cold, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair though, he has been taking a lot of bombs already. In Brazil, man, his style of fighting is not going. His lifespan in boxing is not going to last long if he's going to continue to get beat up like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Brazil would get lit up worse than Jennings, even with Ortiz's advanced aging. Yeah, that would be target practice for Ortiz. I mean, Brazil would be it would be a target practice right there. That would be. Oh man, like I said, man, Ortiz. I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, he's slowed down after the Wilder fight, but that could be that's a possibility. But the fact is that after that fight, none of the heavyweights seem to want to go near him at this point, and he's still ranked in the top five as a top heavyweight. So he's still in contention for another title shot. So that's what's bizarre about this. All these other heavyweights are calling each other wild, but after that Wilder fight, no other heavyweight wants to seem keen to go near him. So he's probably going to be ducked even worse after a loss. And that's what's tragic about this situation with Ortiz. Let's see. Let me see. What else we got here? My dude, classic ass kicking. Kiwi, what's going on, Kiwi? What's going on? Mr. Hop, what's happening? What's happening? Let me see. Wow, no love for Parker here. He had a belt, much better resume than Ortiz. I just don't understand the hate. Y'all just bitter, the lackluster. No, no, we're not. No, I gave Joseph. I did praise Joseph for that performance slightly, given the adjustments he made technically. But I was just disappointed that he couldn't. He just, he just didn't really want to go for broke. But to be fair, the referee was standing in the way because someone brought that to my attention. I looked at that fight once more a few weeks ago, and Joseph just couldn't. I mean, Joseph tried to adjust to going to the inside against Parker, but the referee just wouldn't let him do it. So he had no choice but to try to keep, jab his way from the outside, which he was not going to win the fight from the outside against Joshua. But as far as resume is concerned, yeah, he was a champion. He did beat Carlos Takam, he beat Derevchenko, and he beat Huey Fury and his sparring partner. Don't want to mention that guy. I mean, see, Ortiz got Brian Jennings and Tony Thompson, and of course he was an champion when he beat those guys. Um, so I mean, that's debatable. The resume between Ortiz and Parker. I mean, yeah, Parker was a champion, so I guess I may agree with you on that one, Olaf. I agree with you on that one. Let me see. Broner better win, or he'll be considered a joke, and he'll never be paid well again, in my opinion. Yeah, you know what, man, Kiwi. I'm looking at that press conference. It is a How many do or die fights have Broner been in so far? I mean, this is probably his third do or die fight. So I've seen him get more chances than any other fighter that I've seen, man. I mean, it's unbelievable because here's the thing: he's still a draw despite the shenanigans and him, failing to come, to deliver and rise to the occasion in his big top level fights. So this is the reason why he's controversial. He can still sell tickets. So I just think that he just this is definitely a do or die fight. Still leaning towards Vargas to win it, but it won't surprise me if he does win, beats Jesse Vargas. It won't surprise me. Shaquila, let me see Povetkin. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that situation too. Povetkin and AJ. Um, Let me see. Before the AJ fight, everyone had Parker the number 3 heavyweight in the world. I don't understand why his stock went down more than Ortiz, who actually got knocked out. Well, Olaf, that's a good question. That's a good point. I think the reason why is because Parker he was being overlooked. Not say overlooked. He was being written off. Okay, and yes, he made Anthony Joshua look a bit one-dimensional, even though it was a very lackluster performance by both men. I think the difference between the Ortiz and Wilder fight is that Ortiz almost put out Deontay Wilder. He almost knocked him out. Okay, let's not get it twisted. He almost did, but he failed to deliver. But the fact is, Ortiz gave a courageous performance. As opposed to Parker, his performance against AJ was nowhere near that. Some would say that he survived just 12 rounds not to get hurt. I don't see it that way, but critics may see it that way. And the fact is that Ortiz, yeah, is a very skillful fighter, but yeah, I agree with you, Olaf. Parker definitely have a better resume than Ortiz. I'll give you credit for that. But the fact is, I think the reason why his stock went down is because if he had performed the way Ortiz did in a losing effort, then maybe he'll be ranked higher than Ortiz. Maybe. So I just think that that's the way I see it. I say Povetkin got a strong argument for being fifth behind Parker. Yeah, I mean the rankings, especially 3, 4, and 5, that could be shuffled around. I mean, we all know that Joshua and Wilder are both number 1 and 2. So, no, there's no disputing that. But 3, 4, and 5, definitely you can be shuffling down around. There's different disputes on that. Fox says that I think Povetkin would give AJ problems. Well, I will tell you this though. AJ better pray that fight does not take place in Russia, because they have 2 weeks to make a deal, because the deadline is looming right now, and they have until Cinco de Mayo weekend, which is about 2 weeks. So if they don't come up to an agreement by then, it's going to go to a purse bid, and ain't no way in hell that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn's going to win a purse bid against Povetkin and Ryan Bensky. No way it's going to happen. So I'll get to that later, because that's going to be a very strange situation. If what I'm hearing, what I've heard is that an executive from Sky Sports is even advising AJ to vacate the belt. I mean, that's crazy. I'm going to have to talk about that in a sec. Let's see. Adrien shut Vargas down when he said Vargas stepped up and lost. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Dwayne? That was probably the best comment I've heard from Broner, because that is true. Because when Vargas did step up, he lost. Pacquiao and Bradley. That is true. He did. Okay, they both won the title 147. They both didn't have successful defenses. So, but the fact is that who had this most signature win at 147? I hate to say it, Broner did, even though some people felt that he lost that fight, and that was against Paulie Malignaggi. Saddam Ali, he later became a champion. He beat Cotto. That's a bit of a toss-up, though, because he did beat Cotto after he lost to Vargas. So could Saddam Ali win be better than Broner's win over Paulie Malignaggi? I mean, that's a bit of a debate. I don't know. But, yeah. Let's see. Martirosyan beat Charlo. Triple G's only fighting savages. Well, yeah, Martirosyan, that was a very disputed decision. He made Charlo look bad. He made Lara look bad, too, in one of their fights. I think their first fight. So Martirosyan, could make Golovkin look bad. But the problem with that fight is that Martirosyan has not fought in 2 years. He's coming off a loss against Erislandy Lara. And he's fighting in a new weight class that he's never competed in. On world level, that is. And that right there is a bit of a problem. Now, if the titles were not up for grabs, okay, we can understand why Golovkin is taking this as a stay busy fight. All right, because many champions like Roberto Duran and others have done that. But the fact is that he's putting his titles on the line, and people looking at that and say, wait a minute, you're trying to pad your record so that way you can try to push to get that, to break that middleweight record by Bernard Hopkins. And people, even Art and Golovkin supporters, are not happy about this. And the IBF, I'm hearing conflicting reports that the IBF, we all know they're not going to sanction this fight. I heard one report that not only they're not going to sanction the fight, they're not going to strip him, which I said, okay, fine. But I saw another report, I think this is from the Independent, that the IBF is now going to more likely strip Golovkin after the Vanez fight. So if he does, and it seems like that's more likely is going to happen. Now, to everybody, is it really worth Golovkin to go after Martirosyan and lose his IBF title? Was it really worth him to doing that? I mean, that lets you guys be the judge on that. Olive says, Povetkin ain't shit when he's not juicing. He couldn't even hurt Hammer. Price has a glass jaw, so doesn't mean much. You know what, Olive? That's a good point. Olaf, that's a very good point. Very good point. Mr. Doc says, Olaf, I personally never rated The Rock that high. He didn't impress me versus Ruiz. I forgot he beat Andy Ruiz. I forgot about that. Huey Fury, and a couple others. Yeah, he's had some shaky performances against those guys, but to be fair, Andy Ruiz is a very good fighter, and that wasn't going to be easy. Carlos Takam, definitely not an easy fight. Huey Fury, yeah, we expect him to do much better against Fury. Of course, that's not his fault because Huey Fury was moving like crazy. He wouldn't sit still. So he was just literally chasing that guy, literally chasing him throughout the entire fight. And of course, the judges didn't like that, so they scored it for Parker. Let me see. I mean, if you're not even trying to fight a top notch middleweight, fight like a Nadam or Mundine. Anthony Mundine, nope. Anthony Mundine hasn't even fought in how long? No way. No way, Fox. Can't agree with you on that one. And Dom, maybe. But isn't he coming off a loss against Mariota? When's the last time Nadam fought? Let me check. Son Nadam. Hassan and Dom Najekum. I mean, let me see. Dom. Let's see. Dom had, yeah, his law. He's coming off a loss against Mariota, and he got stopped in that fight, and that was in October of last year. So here's the thing: Adam probably would have been an okay choice, but he's coming off a loss, and I don't like guys getting title shots coming off losses. But I guess that. But the thing is, on the bright side, Adam is a middleweight. He's been active, and Martirosyan, who has been active for 2 years, lost his last fight in 2016 against Arizona Lar, is going up in weight, never competed at middleweight. Yeah, that's a big problem right there. Even though, like I said, I'll give Golovkin the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I can see where people are coming from in this situation. It's like, why in the world were you're chasing another small guy? Why are you dragging another small guy to come up at 160? So I can see that argument. Shia said that Wilder actually could have gotten a 10-8 round in the second. He caught Ortiz with a left while he was slipping. Yeah, you know what? I looked at that and I saw that, and Ortiz did go down. And it was a punch. It may not have much of authority, but it did connect. And Ortiz did slip and then go down. So they didn't rule it. The referee didn't rule a knockdown. So he could have scored that round for Wilder based off that. That was probably the round that stole it from him. So stole it from Ortiz, I should say, based off that. So yeah, that's a pretty good point. I think it's harder to score speed when fighting up close, like Ortiz versus Jennings. Easier to spot slowiness at range at Wilder versus Ortiz. Yeah, that's a very good point, Kiwi. Very good point, because when you're fighting in inside, you can't really tell if the punches are. You can't tell the speed of the punches from real time when you're fighting in close range. Definitely for long range, yes, but definitely not in close range. So that's a pretty good point. I agree with you on that. I don't think Ortiz was never that quick. He just very crafty. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Ortiz was never the quickest fighter. I mean, he definitely had decent speed for his age. Yeah, like you said, he's very crafty. He's a very skillful fighter. He does have a lot of tricks. So that's what made him very dangerous and heavily avoided because he had a very dangerous style that it was very difficult to combat. So Wilder in Brazil, 1224529 says that's going to be a war. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely going to be a war. But how long that war is going to last, that's beyond me. Kiwi says, I don't think Parker will take a talk level fight straight up. Someone ranked, but not a huge threat as a comeback fight. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either, Kiwi. I definitely agree with you on that. I think Parker's going to take an easy tune up, probably a domestic level fighter who's ranked. Uh, Now, I'm not mentioning Junior Fa. I don't think that's a fight he'll be taking. But to me, I think that's not the fight you would want to take on your comeback fight, a Junior Fa. I would take somebody. I mean, he's still ranked by the WBO, I believe. So I think he will take somebody who's ranked maybe 15th or 14th. I have to look at the rankings. Take on a low level opposition like that, and then get yourself back into the mix, and then take another couple mid level fights in between as well. Uh, Wayne King says that Mansour beat himself in the Brazil fight by biting his tongue. It would have not happened if he had won. You know, Brazil actually was winning that. I mean, Mansour wasn't winning that fight, and he really was putting on Brazil. Of course, Brazil caught him with that uppercut, which really railed him and hurt him badly, which could have caused him to bite his tongue when he took tasted that uppercut. So I do agree with you right there that Mansour quit. Plain and simple, he quit. And I was mad at Amir, and I like Amir. I'm a Amir Mansour fan, but I think he could have went longer. But of course, he felt he couldn't do it based off his laceration, and of course, his corner was pissed off at him because they felt he should have had much heart than that. And I agree, and I got nothing but respect for Amir, but he should have shown more heart, but to go back out there and compete. If the laceration got much worse, then yeah, I can understand that. But I've seen guys fight with severe broken jaws like Arthur Abraham, who didn't quit against Edison Miranda. Miranda hurt him badly and cracked his jaw with his vicious uppercut, and that's what Miranda was known for, with them damn deadly uppercuts. And he cracked Abraham so hard, even broke his jaw and displaced it. He displaced it. And in fact, that people were upset at Abraham's corner for letting that fight go ahead. But all credit to Abraham, he really survived, and he was fighting back against Miranda in that fight. And this was early on. This was not late in the fight. And that was very shocking to me that his corner let him go back out there with a severe broken jaw like that. But hey, that shows that Abraham has heart. Danny Williams fought with a separated shoulder in the middle of a fight and knocked out his opponent with one arm. So yeah, I mean, credit to Brazil. He definitely hurt Mansour, but I agree, Wing King. Mansour beat him kind of. Well, he quit. Plain and simple, he quit. Olaf says that I think Brazil could take out Wilder, but I think Wilder's playing with fighter. He shouldn't take the risk that AJ with. He shouldn't take the risk with the AJ fight available. You know what, Olaf? Let me get into that because I know I'm getting a little going into that. Because here's the thing I noticed about that deal. I did say that Wilder should have taken it, just to call their bluff. Fair enough. It is slightly a bigger payday than what he's gotten before. Fair enough. Take it. All right. But I'm listening. I actually listened to that Eddie Hearn interview on Fight Hype, which got everyone up in arms about it. Okay, I had a chance listening to it, right? And I'm going to paraphrase a little bit what Eddie Hearn was saying. He said, "Look, I sent them an offer. I'm offering them 5 times more than what they've ever made. Okay, I don't understand what's going on with their side. I'm dealing with 3 different people. I'm dealing with Heyman, I'm dealing with Finkel, and I'm dealing with Dubella. All right. I looked at the numbers over there in the U.S. I know what Wilder's doing over there. He's not doing the numbers that justify him to getting the pay that he's requesting. Okay, that's what he's saying. Okay, but in that interview, right, in that middle of that interview, of course, of him giving his explanation why he's so adamant about giving him a flat fee, no more than that, right? So he also said is that, look, we're just pretty much tired of overpaying opponents, okay? Why do we got to continue to overpay opponents, especially overpay an opponent who's very dangerous, but yet we can still overpay opponents and make more money fighting an opponent that's much more of a which is a lesser risk. Okay, let me repeat that. Eddie said that why do we got to continue to overpay opponents? Well, especially if we got to overpay an opponent like Wilder, who's very dangerous, while we can overpay an opponent who's less dangerous, but we can still make more money off that fight. So, based off that comment right there, and I'm thinking it to myself, and I was going to do a video response to that, and I was like, wait a minute, Eddie, did you deliberately send that offer over to Wilder's team knowing that they were not going to accept it? Because I also learned, despite me saying that I think Wilder should take it, I also learned that Eddie Hearn was not going to give Wilder the U.S. Broadcasting rights, the licensing fee for the U.S. broadcast for the Anthony Joshua fight. How could he do that, knowing that Joshua doesn't draw that much numbers in the U.S. like Wilder does? How can you do that? Now, I could understand that Sky Sports keep 100% of the pay-per-view revenue and the licensing fee in the UK. I can understand Joshua getting that. But as far as the U.S., you're not trying to give Wilder his rights to the U.S., his electorate, his audience, the licensing fee. That is a problem right there. Of course, they're not going to take that offer. Okay, so to me, Eddie wanted to put that offer out there just to get people off his back, just to relieve the pressure on him and say, hey, look, I sent them an offer. They didn't want it. There you go. Get off my back. That's the way I see it. Okay. And I say this once and I say it again. I think they deliberately waiting for Wilder to slow down. Straight up. They're waiting for him to slow down based off that interview right there. And Eddie Hearn shot himself in the foot when he mentioned that. That was a contradiction right there. Okay. I know he made a joke about someone, about this whole $100 million fight ordeal and all that. Me personally, I don't think this fight is worth $100 million. It could be between 50 or 60. I don't know. I'm just only guessing right now. I'm just only taking a guess. But the fact is, in one article, it was Eddie who's the one who suggested that. He's the one who went out there and said that this fight could. He said that I believe this fight could make more than Tyson and Lewis. That's what he said, and people ran with that. So it's just like he's contradicting himself all over the place. In one interview with IFL, he said he sent one offer to Wilder and his team. While in another interview, AJ said that we sent them multiple offers. And Coogan Gassers called him out on that. He said that, wait a minute, Eddie. AJ said that you guys sent multiple offers. And you said you sent one? I mean, what's going on here? I just don't understand these contradictions over here with Eddie Hearn. In all fairness, Wilder's contradicting himself too, because he's going out saying that, well, you know what? It ain't about the money. It ain't about the money. I'll fight it. Pretty much, I'll fight AJ no matter what. And here you are Here you are rejecting the offer they sent to you. See, your words matter when it comes to the sport of boxing. And Deontay, with all due respect, man, I'm your fan, but you can't say things like that. That's going to contradict yourself. That's going to put you in conflict. That right there, to me, they're going to use that against you. Say, see, Deontay, you said this is not about the money. This is the offer. Take it or leave it. All right? Now, opposed to what Hearn is doing and AJ doing, they're contradicting themselves as well, all over the place with this. It all started with that infamous Sky Sports interview with Joshua had with Johnny Nelson, you know. And then all of a sudden, Josh was coming out saying, "I would love to face get in the face of Wilder and Tyson Fury." Really? I mean, you weren't keen about that when the news swirled that Wilder was going to come to the UK and face you in the ring. You didn't like that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, seriously, I like AJ, but just Jesus Christ, there's too much contradictions on AJ's side, and there's some contradictions on Wilder's side. All right, both of these camps need to stop this shit and get the fight done. And I'm gonna maintain my position on this. This fight is not gonna happen this year. We can all forget about it. We might as well stop talking about it until it does get to that point. All right, we're gonna wait next year. That's the way it is. Wilder's going to take on some interim fights in between. Joshua's going to do the same thing as well. Now, speaking of overpaying opponents, right? Eddie says that we're no longer going to overpay opponents. Well, Eddie, let me remind you that you still have that mandatory that's due. That's Alexander Povetkin. Because if you don't want that fight in Russia, you're going to have to overpay Povetkin to get him over here, get him to the UK. What do you know? You're going to have to overpay him, Eddie. Because if you're not going to overpay Povetkin, you might as well let them win that purse bid and take it over to Russia. So the choices is yours. I mean, yeah. I mean, look. I'm just saying, man. I mean, Eddie, you're the guy who set the standard of overpaying opponents. And the fact is, you just pretty much said to the whole world in that interview that you will overpay opponents as long as the risk is very low. That's exactly what you said, man. This is not my words. This is his words. That's exactly what you said in that damn interview. And that right there, oh my goodness, that right there just had me shaking my head. All right. The same thing with Wilder when he went on the Boxing Voice saying it's not about the money. And yeah, he's saying that I'm not going to take the offer they're sending me. Okay. So I'm being very objective here, guys, and I'm saying that he should take the offer, but at the same time, I'm looking at it from the perspective why his team doesn't want to take that offer, because they're not guaranteed any licensing fee from the U.S. The U.S. champion, you're not guaranteeing him the licensing fee from his audience, but you want it. No. That's not the way it works. And just because you're the A side doesn't mean you're going to get to always get things your way 100%. You have to come to a compromise if you want the other champion to fight your champion. That's the way it is. Now, speaking of, we call the shots, Eddie. Well, with Vivek and his team win that first bit, you're not going to be calling the shots on that one. So let's not get that twisted. Let's keep that in mind. All right. Let's see. Let me look at the comments here. Man, a lot of good comments coming in. Oh, Kiwi said, yeah, I saw that interview with Amir Mansour. Kiwi, shout out to you, by the way. He said that when I interviewed Amir, he said that he bit through a artery in his tongue. He couldn't breathe due to choking on too much blood. So he now uses a two-piece mount guard on top and the bottom. Okay, well that would explain it. That would explain it. Triple G 122 said Triple G should have gone for undisputed instead of messing with Canelo's fiasco. Yeah, but here's the thing: Golovkin is old. He even said himself before the Canelo fight that he doesn't plan of fighting for no more than at least 2 or 3 years. I think that's what he said in one interview. At this point, um, before Canelo, Triple G was trying to chase the big money fights. He wanted Froch, he wanted Chavez Jr. Since he couldn't get those fights, the next contingency was Canelo Alvarez. So he was willing to give everything up to get that fight and get a huge payday and call it a career. And now he's in this fiasco with Canelo to where he cannot fight anyone else. Obviously at this point is an exception because of Ggg-Martirosyan is the last minute replacement and whatnot. He's at the point of his career that I'm not going to take on any stiff competition. I'm going to go get the big money payday. I'm at 36 years old. I got a family. I'm going to get one big payday, 8 figures, and call it a career. Because I think after the Canelo fight in September, that'll be it for him. He may take another fight, but after that, he's done. He's done. I just don't see him lasting no more than 2 or 3 more fights. But I do expect him to pretty much call it a day after win or lose or draw against Canelo. I mean, God forbid if it's another draw, but damn. Let me see. Did you see that Eddie interview with Radio Raheem? No, I didn't see that interview. I didn't. I have to check that out, Dwayne. Ross Clyde, you in the comments, man. I didn't see you, brother. What's going on? Ross Clyde says that AJ's ducking, but it don't matter. Embassy is no longer a fan of boxing. Hey, Ross Clyde, if you think AJ's ducking, man, hey, I mean, that's your opinion, man. But from the looks of it, it's just to me that Eddie was just trying to provide cover after he sent that offer. He was trying to provide cover so that way he could relieve the pressure from those who were trying to pressure him to make the Wilder fight. So um, that right there, to me, that offer that he sent to him, you could consider that pretty low. It was a pretty low ball, even though I thought Wilder should have taken it. But the fact is, based off what I heard in that interview, which he openly admitted that why should I be overpaying a guy who's extremely dangerous while I can overpay an opponent who's less dangerous, but I can still make more money doing that. I mean, here's the thing: he can still make a lot of money fighting Wilder and overpay him, but it's an extremely dangerous fight. That's what he just admitted. So that right there doesn't suit well with me. I'm sorry, because look, I mean, no promoter is going to admit that publicly in an interview or a manager. The last guy that did that, and to my recollection, was Angel Garcia. Remember that infamous interview that he had with Ness from the Boxing Voice and T Street Controversy. Shout out to T Street. When he openly admitted that why does my son Danny need to take on a dangerous fight while he can make $5 million fighting a guy like Raw Salkers of the world? Remember that interview? Yeah, and Angel Garcia got slammed for that, and rightfully so. So that right there remind me of that Eddie's remarks remind me of Angel Garcia. That come on, man, seriously. Let me see. Let me see the comments coming in. Where did they get this $100 million figure? It seems like 50, 60 million to me. I mean, what did Klitschko fight do? Does anyone know? Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think it's a 50, $60 million fight. But here's the thing, though. We don't know the figures to the Klitschko fight. We don't know at all because in the UK they don't release the figures. They're not required to do that. What we do know is that in Germany, Klitschko, who's a very, very huge draw in Germany, he did 10 million views over there. As far as the pay-per-view figures, I don't know. I don't recall. They don't even release those figures. We don't even get the live gate figures as well. But the pay-per-view, I know they released it for the Dillian White and the Anthony Joshua fight on pay-per-view in the UK Sky box office, but I don't recall. Let me look it up. Let's see. Sky box office, Joshua. Let's go. Let's see. Let's see. Joshua Klitschko pay-per-view buys. Let's take a look. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see. On Showtime, it did 655 I'm sorry, 659,000 views on Showtime here in the U.S. Germany did 10 million views. Of course, that's Klitschko's demographic. HBO did, let me see, the HBO views, in which they replayed the fight. Or actually, no, they broadcasted live on their end too. Man, what's HBO figures? Was it 700 and let me see. Okay, I'm looking at this, guys. Let me see. Pay per view. Well, let me see. According to Eddie Hearn, he told the BBC that that fight broke the all-time record for the pay-per-view buys. He said it on a Radio 5 live interview. He said, "A quote: We broke the British box office records on pay-per-view last night. We can't tell you the number last night because it's too early. But the record was 1.5 million for Pacquiao against Mayweather last night. We beat that for sure." Now I'm very confused about that quote because if you said that you broke the record, but you can't announce it can't announce it, but yet you say you beat it, but we still haven't seen that number. That's very very odd right there. That's a bit odd right there. So you say you beat the Mayweather Pacquiao record for 1.5 in the UK, but you didn't release the number yet. So where's the figures on that, Eddie? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm still looking for that. We still haven't seen that figure yet. Um, Let me see. So here's the thing about the UK pay-per-views. They don't really release the numbers. They can only quote it from a close source to the situation. Because here in the US, you do have to report it. Well, naturally, you don't have to report it, but they do bring them out. So that right there. Well, let me see. Okay, here it is. Here's a follow-up interview. So Sky Sports do confirm. Oh, this is the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather buys. Okay, let me see. What about Joshua though? Okay, yeah. See, it's funny though, because Sky Sports they do release the pay-per-view numbers on Mayweather, but they haven't really they haven't done anything for Joshua. Let me see. Let's see. People don't. I know people were putting out the number 1.2, but we don't. Thing is, we don't really know. Let me see. Trying to figure this out. I just need a proper source to this because we haven't even gotten that number. Back in the day, Klitschko got okay. So Eddie said they did 1.2. Okay, I found the article here. He did it. He gave an interview with IFL. That number is 1.2 million buys. Obviously, that was Klitschko fight. So yeah, Klitschko was the one who kind of drew most of those people there. Joshua versus Dillian White actually was 420,000 buys, which was a fight that people criticized for being on pay per view to begin with. Joshua versus Martin did over 500K. Brooke versus Golovkin did 400K. Joshua versus Molina 450K. Bellew versus Hay did 750K. So basically, this is a source from I think this is way Herb put out. So okay, so he does put out the numbers, but when he wants to. So yeah, okay. So there we go. So let me get up to the comments here. All right, let's see. I'm missing you guys a lot of comments, a lot of comments. Kiwi Box says that promoters and promotions is the lie to get what you want. Take the pre-fight comments with a grain of salt. Yeah, I mean, Kiwi, you're speaking rationale here, man. Very rational, and I always respected you because you and I, we could talk, we could have a good conversation without trying to blow up at each other. And I've known you for a couple years now, so no fighter's going to be bringing $100 million unless you're Floyd. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. I mean, unless you're Floyd, unless you're Conor McGregor, those are the only two that can bring in $100 million pot. So let's see. It is fun to point out the contradictions, though. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's why I'm doing it from both sides. And I don't want people to come on my channel talk about I'm hating on AJ. No, I pointed the contradictions on both AJ and Wilder. Plain and simple. All right, and I'm not doing this to please anybody. I'm doing this because I'm speaking for me to point out my rationale and my middle, me being, in the middle on this, being impartial. So yeah, and yeah, so I still get criticized for being impartial because I like to give Wilder the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, unbelievable. Okay. All right, yeah, I'm about to wrap it up in a few because the wife's getting mad. So, anyways, let's see. The MLB is taking out all the bums. Yeah, the MOBC is taking out all the bums. Okay, Rasclot, whatever you say, brother. Whatever you say. The MOBC feels G should never ever fight Canelo again. Well, I mean, if he wants that 8-figure payday, he's gonna have to because he's not gonna get that anywhere else, Rasclot. AJ said he would fight Wilder for a $50 million flat fee. If it's $100 million, then there's a 50-50 right there. Wilder's team know that the 12.5 is fair, but their egos are in the way. Yeah, Olaf, it could be, but I think what they're upset about is that look at it from a principal perspective. Again, your words matter because Wilder's the one who came out and said the money doesn't matter. Why not take it? It's right there. But then again, from a pair, let's be fair, Shelley Finkel didn't say that. That was Wilder that said that. So, or Lou DiBella. But from a logical, from a actual perspective, Wilder got his percentage, and he got the licensing fee from New Zealand, and he got a percentage of the total revenue. Why can't Wilder get it? He's a champion himself. Why can't he get that same type of deal? Okay. But okay, if you want to give me if you're going to give them a flat fee, why not give them the U.S. TV deal, the licensing deal for the U.S.? He is the U.S. champion, by the way. He does bring in more numbers in the U.S. than Joshua does. Why can't he be entitled to that? So I can see where they're coming from. But at the same time, I do agree that they can't be strong arming Joshua though, because he is the A side, and they better respect that. I agree with that. Now, again, as far as Eddie's words is concerned, again, him saying that we're no longer overpay opponents. We could rather overpay opponents and still make more money, and it's a riskier fight. That what got me right there. The fact is that Povetkin is still there. Now, you think you're not going to stop? If you think the day of overpaying opponents is over, think again. Because if you don't want that fight in Russia, and I have to repeat myself, then you're going to have to overpay Povetkin to come to the UK to fight Joshua. That's what you're gonna have to do, Eddie. Let me see. Let's see. No, left the MOBC it's just Rosclot, man. Oh man, Rosclot's a trip. Wilder said he would fight 1% purse. I mean, he did say 10%. I'm not sure about 1%, but he did say 10%. As long as Joshua, if he beats him in the rematch, Joshua should get the same 10%, which I think that's a bit too far. That's not realistic, Deontay. He needs to be more realistic. That's not realistic. Let's see. Mala, what's going on, Mala? Mala said that sad Canelo only got a 6-month ban instead of a usual 1 year for first-time violators. Boxing will never clean up its problem acting this way. Yeah, but let me be fair, Mala. I think the 6 months is justifiable because this is a one-time offense. But the problem I have with the suspension is that Canelo is not getting fined. So he's not going to lose money for this, while other fighters like Luis Ortiz, for example, who got popped for banned substance back in 2014, not only had to receive the 6-month ban, but he also had to pay a fine. Povetkin himself, even though I was very skeptical about the Meldonia situation, he ended up having to pay the fine. So if those guys had to end up paying a fine for failing failing a PED test, why the fuck Canelo's getting the exemption for not doing that? That is a problem I have with right now with that suspension. Okay, 6 months I don't mind, but the fact is that he not paying a fine while other fighters have to lose money off the situation. That is unfair. That is unfair. Ah man, that's a problem, Dan. Until they start hitting these guys hard, they're going they're going to see it as if it's being worth the risk. Yeah, you know what, Mala? The guys and I were chopping it up on the chat the other day. Sadly, it depends that if you're a cash cow, certain rules do apply to you. I mean, don't apply to you, I should say, because Canelo is definitely a cash cow. And from what I've heard from the grapevine, he threatened, to say he threatened the commission or say that look, if you guys assess a harsh suspension on me, I'm not going to fight in Vegas again, or Nevada, or Vegas. So Canelo is definitely a cash cow, and they definitely need that money in Vegas. So that's why they gave him that suspension. And already, Golden Boy is promoting his return for September 15th, and that's when the rematch with him and Golovkin is going to take place. So that's funny right there. Ambitious D, what's going on, man? It's all about the money. Believe Triple G's last fight will be Canelo. I agree, man. That's what I just said. I think that's going to be his last fight. No question about it. No question about it. Yeah, like I said, this Martirosyan fight, man. I mean, like I said, I'll give him the benefit of doubt on that fight. But the fact is that I could see another point of view that you bring in another small guy up from a different up one weight class, and this guy hasn't fought in 2 years. He's coming off a loss. I can understand where the other argument is coming from, but like I said, Vanes is a much better replacement than Spike O'Sullivan and fucking Jaime Maguia. You know what? That's a good question. I don't know what's going on. I thought, Canelo was signed up for the CPP, but it turns out he's never been signed up for this CPP. He's registered for VADA, but he doesn't get tested year round, and that's a problem here. And what's funny about this too? Well, not funny. What's striking about this is that he one time leading up to his fight against Liam Smith, he opted not to get tested to VADA. He refused to have VADA test for that fight against Liam Smith. So that right there was very, very suspicious to me. But like Eric Morales says, though, despite him, claiming to be innocent or not, based on if did he, well, let me take that back. Let me reword that. Like Eric Morales said, the great Eric Morales, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, by the way. Congratulations to Eric Morales. Uh, he said, despite whether Canelo, deliberately or not deliberately consumed the contaminated meat, which is combuterol, this still takes his reputation either way because now Canelo's pretty much looked as he's perceived as a cheater. He's perceived as a guy who his clean cut reputation is ruined over this, and it's going to take a long time for him to get it back. It's going to take a while. I mean, he could probably overcome it, but it's going to take a long while. And for him to salvage that problem, he's going to have to agree to random style drug testing year round. He's going to have to enroll to the CPP. And it was funny though, because I think BoxRec got him at CPP enrolled. Let me check. Let me check because that is very interesting. Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez. Let's see. All right, Saul. Oh, yep. They don't even have him enrolled. So they got it correct. All right, so let's see here. Let's see, Mr. Doc. If the juice heads are banned, then people can't fight them. But as Dan said, money talks in boxing. Yep. Someone has to go over to England and take that belt from Billy Joe Saunders, Jacobs, Jamel, and Lar. Take away from Billy Joe Saunders, Jacobs, Jamel, and Lar moving up. Well, actually, Lar. I think Lar did mention he's going to go to middleweight, but that's yet to be seen. We know that Jacobs and Jamel are at middleweight right now, and those are dangerous. Those are dangerous fights for any other middleweight. And Andrade is there too, by the way. Andrade, he's there too. Mr. Doc says, I can't agree with you on that one, Dan. Spike's been fighting for the last 2 years. Vanez impersonating Ronda Rousey's coach the last 2 years. Yeah, that's another good point. At least Spike has been active, though. He is a middleweight. If to be honest with you, he is, to be shockingly, he is ranked in the top 10 as a top 10 middleweight. But I don't know, man. I still think that's a horribly bad mismatch anyway, regardless. Because here's the thing: Spike has been knocked out already. Okay, he's been knocked out. At least Vanez, his fights, you could say, you know what? He's been knocked out by Eubank. He got pieced up by Eubank, and he got humiliated by Billy Joe Saunders, which is Spike O'Sullivan. But as far as Martirosyan is concerned, yes, he hasn't fought in 2 years, and he's coming off a loss. But those losses are against guys that he gave tough times to, and some of those losses that he has were disputed losses. His losses against Jacobs and Lar
or the first Lara fight was disputed, very disputed losses. So, yeah, I know, man. It's a bit of a debate, bit of a debate. Let me see. All right, let me see if I break some gang up in here. Even though I'm gonna get off here shortly, but I'm gonna bring up here. We'll chop it up a little bit. All right, let me send. I know EJ got on me last time, even though I was on here late. I'll send the link. Give me a second. You guys come on here. We'll just chop it up real quickly before I close it out. Uh, oh yeah, before I do that, let me go over the other fights. I know Tank Davis is going to be fighting Hazar Cuellar for the vacant WBA title, and now what I've learned, if I'm correct here, let me take a look. Javante Davis from Beemore, where I'm from Baltimore. So if I serves me correctly, okay, still for the regular title. Okay, so he'll be fighting Cuellar for the vacant regular title, and with Cuellar is coming off a loss, and that's that's one thing. But that should be an interesting fight. I think Cuellar is going to make is going to really bring it towards Davis, and I expect Davis to get him out, probably no later than 6 rounds, in my opinion. So that's coming up, and then you have Charlo versus Titio Jr. And I mean that should be an interesting fight. I expect Charlo to take him out no later than 7 rounds. Takashi 6ix9ine is just begging to get his ass whooped by some man. Dude's a fucking troublemaker. I mean he's a clown. Fuck Takashi 6ix9ine. No disrespect to the kid, man, but I just don't. I mean, a dude to get tat all over his face, like these dudes, man. These dudes want to get tats all over themselves and try to prove that they hard, man. Fuck him. Eh, fuck him. I mean, Takashi talking about he a blood, and he wants to reverse and say I'm a crip. Man, yeah, dude's a phony, man. I mean, I can't see how anybody like that dude. He ain't got no rap skills to save his life. He just there because he has an image. Not hating, but that's the truth. Okay, and for him to try to take beef with guys like the game, try to beef with Adrien Broner, dude ain't don't know what he's getting himself into. He is asking for an ass whooping for all that shit talking that he does. All right, so yeah, I mean. But he is entertainment though. But he just yeah, he just a troublemaker, man. Straight up, straight up. Oh, another fight that got announced. That got announced yesterday, by the way. That's Sergey Kovalev versus Elidia Alvarez. That right there is an interesting fight. I'm a bit disappointed that that fight got made because I wanted to see Kovalev versus Marcus Brown, but according to Duva, the reason why that fight couldn't be made is because Marcus Brown did get into some domestic dispute, and they don't want to get involved in that. They don't want to waste their time trying to wait for Marcus Brown to settle that out. So to settle that domestic dispute, so they're going to move on and then take on Alvarez as their contingency plan, as Kathy Duva had came out and said, until Marcus Brown does clear up, clear up the situation, his mess. But all they need to do is get a proper date, and they have to get the venue, and they're good to go. And of course, Alvarez manager Stefan Lapine, Stefan, or I say Stefan, is it Stefan? Yeah, Stefan or Stefan Lapine. He's come out and blasted Stevenson and Michelle because they're for making, because the fact is like, look, we've been trying to work out the step aside deals with Michelle. He's not trying to give us any step aside money, so that's why they moved on to Kovalev instead, because they're not gonna wait for Stevenson any longer. And like I said, I don't want to go back to that old situation. All parties involved in that situation with Stevenson and Alvarez in the WBC, they all to blame because the WBC should never allow these step aside agreements to take place. Number one, Stevenson team or Ivan Michel on his behalf should never push Alvarez to the side for at least 3 years, as long as he did. He should have never done that. All right, and Alvarez team or his manager or his management should have pushed further to force that fight in, even if you have to take the fight to court to the federal courts of Montreal, the superior courts, I should say. They should have fought to force that mandatory shot to happen, but they didn't do it. Okay, so they do have to share the blame for why that Stevenson fight never came about. But Stevenson, of course, on behalf of Michelle and the WBC, have to also take blame for that, how that situation got out of hand. So Yeah, but look, this is a good fight. It's an intriguing fight, and Alvarez does look like the bigger of the men. He does look like he has a longer reach, and he does. He could pose a very good threat to Kovalev. So he does look taller, a little bit taller than him. So that's going to be an interesting fight. A bit taller, maybe about an inch taller than Kovalev, but of course, Kovalev knocked out Sabransky, but Sabransky doesn't have the boxing skills and the skill set like Alvarez does. So. Now, Rosclaw says that 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. Is it true that Takashi 6 9 is walking out with Jesse Vargas to the ring? That's a rumor. I don't know. I don't know about that. But if he does come out in the ring, that's gonna cause a lot of problems, man. I mean, Adrien Broner needs to stay focused on Jesse Vargas. If don't worry about fucking little ass Takashi 6 9. All right. Let me see. I blame Alvarez. He took the easy money. Yeah, like I said, Bishop D, he's equally to blame for this mess because he kept taking step aside deals, and then you have the WBC who allow this shit to happen, and they want to go ahead and investigate themselves for allowing these step aside deals to take place. And then you have Stevenson's team or Michelle on behalf who continued to push this fight out off as long as he could because I believe that he wanted to milk Stevenson as far as he could, given the fact that he's getting up in age. And Stevenson is those I criticized him, but he doesn't sell out much, and even in his own country, Canada, he is his biggest draw compared to his other fighters. I mean, he lost David Lemieux, who was pretty much equally a bigger draw like Stevenson. He lost him. He lost Pascal, who was a much bigger draw than Stevenson. So he could only rely on Stevenson, and people want to get on Golden Boy Oscar for relying too much on Canelo. I mean, Michelle is relying too much on Stevenson. You know, so yeah. Let me see. 1 2 2 4 5 2 9 says I haven't heard Stevenson Badu Jack still. Yeah, they haven't quite made that official yet. They said they're gonna make an official announcement within the next week or so. But I don't understand why in the world it's taking so long for that fight to be to be official. I mean, I thought they've already set out. They've already locked the venue in. They already got the date. I guess they still haven't. They still were ironing out the certain provisions in the contract before they could fully finalize it. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Very, very, very bizarre situation with these light heavyweights. you know. So let me bring the crew in here. Let's chop it up a little bit before I get off. We'll make it pretty quick. Let's see. I'm on this call. I know I'm on this call. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's jump in, people. Let's chop it up shortly. All right. Let's see. EJ. And people. I'm live. All right, EJ, do or die. Let's get it out. All right. That's there. Uh, shortly. Let's go that long. All right, there we go. Let me see. Let's see. Stitches got tattoos all over. Stitches all over. Yeah, Stitches is. Yeah, he got his ass beat. I mean, that's why we don't hear from him no more because he's getting his ass whooped, ran his mouth too much. And then when his big mouth caught up with his ass, he's nowhere to be seen. Okay. And that's what he gets. That's why I don't like these pony ass rappers. They try to look hard and shit, and then when they finally, face someone who they've been talking shit about for a long time, they want to back off like little bitches. Like little bitches and shit, man. I don't play that, man. Real talk. You know. So it looks like somebody jumped on. Who could this
What's
be?
going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Doc? How you doing, man?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot.
Yeah, not much, not much, man. I thought I'd bring you on to chop that up pretty quickly. So, man, I know we'll talk about this offline. Who I was referring to, but you know who I was talking about earlier on my earlier
Yeah, I
rant.
think we know. I think we know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, man. So you know, I was just get some stuff out of the way. What did you think about that Adrien Broner press conference?
I only heard about it. What exactly went on?
Well, I mean, I see Dwayne and Mike in here too. What's going on, fellas? Before I get to you guys, I'm gonna tell you what happened. They Adrien Broner, they were trying to, go down the line with the fighters that's gonna be on the card. You have, Charlo there, Centennial Jr., Cuellar, and what you call it, Davis there as well. But Adrien Broner and Vargas were out there saying their piece about how they're very excited about the opportunity for this fight, blah blah blah. And then Broner, he was in there acting like a clown, listening to his music with, not paying attention to the PA announcing his name or the other fighters' names. He was just being a clown. Everybody's laughing at him. The thing about Broner, he does like to draw attention. He's very good at doing that, right? And then when the announcer, the PA, well, the interviewer, I should say, I keep forgetting this guy's name. He's a Showtime, announcer, the head commentator, the lead commentator, not the lead commentator, the head announcer, right? He asked Adrien a question. He's like, Adrien, given that you have stepped up in weight class and you lost your big fights, and Adrian's like, well, so did Vargas. He did too. Not me. I did too. He did too. Not me. How you gonna deal with that? He's like, first of all, I ain't with that shit. All right. First of all, this ain't Vargas is a little bitch ass nigga. Blah blah blah. Okay, he ain't gonna stand a chance against me. I'm tired of you guys talking about the negative and all that shit. And then Leonard Ellaby try to cut. He's like, fuck Leonard Ellaby too. Oh, bitch ass nigga. And Leonard Ellaby's like, well, you ain't talking about me. You ain't talking about me. He's like, I'll talk about who the fuck I want to talk about. You a bitch ass nigga.
Okay, so it's Broner being Broner, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
man, it was too funny. It was too funny.
Well, the thing of it is, and I said to earlier on the broadcast, earlier on my podcast, I said, look, the one thing about Adrien Broner, he may not win his biggest fights, but he can sure as hell sell a down fight by talking the shit that he does, and he knows how to get people to put asses in those seats. He still knows how to sell a fight, even though he may not be able to win it. You know, he's like a Ricardo Mayorga, knowing that you're gonna be outgunned, but at least you can make money by drawing asses in seats. At the end of the day,
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's kind of what I was asking the other day or earlier. I can't remember which it was about. Is it possible that American boxing fans are in a way responsible themselves for the state of boxing because what we want, I'm saying collectively, not me and you specifically, right?
Right.
But what resonates with American boxing fans is like the antithesis of what corporate sponsors and the like are looking for.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's a different demographic.
Am I making sense with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
It's just a thought.
yeah, I think what you're alluding to, if correct me if I'm wrong, is that the American boxing landscape, as far as the audience is concerned, is that we're we're appealed to fighters who create controversy, the bad guys. That's what we're appealed to.
Shit talkers,
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. You
Mike
can get
Tyson,
away
I'm
with
going to eat your children, etc.,
yeah,
and
and
all
Floyd
that. And
Mayweather
it goes
antagonizing. Yeah,
even all the
yeah,
way back to Ali and all that. Love me or
yeah.
hate me as long as you debate me.
Yeah, exactly. You hate me so much, you wanted to pay so much money to see me lose. That
Yeah,
type of thing.
exactly. Yep.
And
But
see,
but
in
but
England,
I think there's a
you
lot
could
of
get away with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say in England, we chopped this up with the other guys, and they brought up a good point. In England, you can only go so far with that because if you say something wrong, they're going to cut your head off. That's what happened to Tyson Fury. Now, Chris Eubank was very smart, being a bad guy. He said some things that pissed people off, but he knew his limitations. He knew when the line was
He did it
drawn.
a certain way. Yeah. He did. He
Yeah,
played the sort of stereotypical English villain with the monocle and everything. Like me and my
yeah,
friends, we thought that was great because we were the type of people that we rooted for like the bad guys when we'd watch pro wrestling, like Ric Flair. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah,
he was like that
exactly.
So
WWE heel.
exactly. It was like
Yeah,
the boxing equivalent of Ric Flair or some shit.
he was a
Yeah,
wrestling heel as opposed. He was a wrestling heel as
Yeah.
opposed to like a real
yeah.
life,
Exactly.
asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that I noticed that's what Wilder's trying to do, but that's not made for him. Deontay need to be himself. You're not made to be an antagonist, bro. I know that's what he's trying to do right now, but it is working to some degree. But I just don't think that's him being him. I just think he needs to be himself. But it's sad. That's just the way it is. We need another villain for boxing to kind of revive a bit here in the States. So
Not necessarily. I mean, it's we just need people with personality. Really, we just need people with personality. That's all there is to it. People with charisma.
Mostly, yeah. Like I was generalizing, too, when I was talking about that. But I do think it's possible that it's a factor.
I mean,
because the corporate sponsors aren't interested in, the Mike Tyson saying they're going to eat people's children and that kind of thing the way we are. But we are. The boxing that will still get, you can put. It doesn't matter what matchup.
Well, and I mean, there's different ways to do it too. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be all like fucking Hulkamania. Eat your vitamins and say your prayers.
Yeah. But throwing tables will work. Throwing tables will work over here. Let's not lie. Trust me. If they'd done that Dylan White, what's his name?
Like even though Terrence Crawford, even though Terrence Crawford isn't much of a talker necessarily, he has a certain persona about him. He has a certain air about him.
It's kind of like it's kind of like a George Foreman. I don't have to say much, but I'm gonna just go in there and do what I do. Destroy.
Hearns didn't say much either. Hearns didn't say a lot.
Yeah, Hearns too. Yeah, he destroyed people. Not saying Crawford could punch harder than those guys. Now let's not get it twisted, but he does go in there and make guys look bad and bust them up.
That's beside the point. I'm just talking about like personality, like and character, like who the character of the person is.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, Mike? What's going on, man?
I'm hearing the conversation here, and there's a difference between having personality and acting a fool.
Okay. Yes, but American boxing fans.
Absolutely.
A lot of American boxing fans do like people that act a fool, though.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry, but Broner is acting a damn fool. I'm not going to reward that. I'm gonna be consistent here. I don't like it when Angel Garcia acts a fool. I don't like it when this dude acts a fool, especially when he's coming off of a loss. He looked and sounded like a clown up there, sitting there listening to music, bopping his head throughout the whole press conference, disrespecting in a certain way everybody else speaking. And then when they asked him a question, what you didn't mention, Dan, is the first thing that he utters, "This is a fake ass press conference."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. Oh man,
you can get that all the attention that you want, but it's still a clown. It's still ignorant.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and reward that. Just like I don't reward Angel Garcia, just like I didn't reward the nonsense that was those 3 press conferences between McGregor and Mayweather last year. No. You can have personality. You can even have a big mouth and talk a lot of trash without acting that kind of a fool. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, that's an interesting point. But but at the end of the day, Mike, the American boxing electorate, I have to say they thrive on that. They are drawn to controversial figures like Adrien Broner. They get
somewhat, but it's one of those things where Broner, he pushes the line, but he also doesn't deliver at the same time. So it's like he's pushing the line and behaving like a damn caricature, and then he also at the same time is losing all of his big fights. So it's there's not any leeway that you could really give him.
One, he's talking the talk, but he hasn't walked the walk since Maidana.
And honestly, I think his act is kind of getting tired for a lot of people.
It is to some degree.
Let me say this.
Somebody got to mute. Who's that in the background? Hello, Mike. You want to say something, man? Mike.
Let me readjust my mic.
Okay, go ahead, man. Wait, White.
I'm inclined to agree with Mike though, with his general kind of sentiments, and I honestly I think much of the boxing public agrees too. I mean, I don't think Broner is at the same level of even notoriety that he once was.
Yeah.
Not even, and it's not even just because he hasn't been delivering, but also because of the fact that he's kind of slowly acted more of a fool. Like it almost kind of reminds you of like where like all those years ago, Britney Spears like shaved her fucking head and was going all crazy and shit. And like that's not to say that she wasn't still popular, like known and everything, but it wasn't like she was at the height of her popularity when she did that. She was bugging out, and like it's almost like a similar situation with Broner nowadays, where it's like you're just kind of watching a car crash.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's gonna get tiring some apps. It's like, look, man, you talk a lot of shit. Do back it up in the ring, win some fights.
Okay, can you guys?
Not even just backing it up, but the thing is, he's not particularly clever in what he says. He just says crazy shit. But there's not like that glimmer in his eye where it's like, oh yeah, what he just said right there was kind of clever, like funny little play on words or what have you. It's just
okay.
Yeah, we hear you, Mike. We can hear you.
Okay. One. He's talking the talk, but he hasn't walked the walk since Maidana beat him. Two, yeah, we can pay attention and even reward that kind of attitude and that kind of braggart who talks crazy. But dare I go there? We did that November 16, and look at the mess we are now vis-a-vis our politics.
Yeah.
So no, no.
Well, let me ask you guys this: how do you feel about this clown beef between him and Tekashi 6ix9ine, the rapper?
And that's my point. And that's my point. It's all related. It's all related, Dan.
Yeah.
It's all related. It's an interplay here. Why are you sitting there when you're at the crossroads of your career? You need this win badly, and you sitting there beefing with some tattooed up dude, some tattooed millennial rapper who's nobody's paying attention to.
Yeah.
Focus on your opponent. Period.
That's the same thing I said too. You need to focus on Vargas. Don't worry, Tekashi's not going to be in that ring fighting you that night.
The one thing I'll say about Broner though, like against Mikey Garcia, he wasn't like this, and it didn't work out for him. So I think maybe in his mind he's looking like, well, if I do lose, maybe I got to still promote myself. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like he's trying to pump himself up into the fight?
Yeah, he's got to pump himself up or even promote himself. Whether it's wrong or right, and whether we tune in, like Dan said, he's still going to try to be relevant to sell tickets, regardless.
But that's the problem. Look at what he said after the Garcia fight. Y'all still going to come and see me. Y'all still going to watch me on television. Y'all still going to do blah, 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 blah. To me, that says he hasn't learned a doggone thing.
Yeah.
He's learned nothing.
Well, I mean, look, Adrien Broner is going to continue to be Adrien Broner, but as we all agree, he is at the crossroads of his career. He desperately needs a win. But I agree with you on this one, Mike. He definitely does not need to be pandering down to this bullshit that he's doing right now, especially with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Because the rumor mill is that Tekashi 6ix9ine is going to antagonize him by walking into the ring with Jesse Vargas. That's the rumor I'm hearing right now, and Tekashi's going to be there. And that right there, I'm like, okay, all right, seriously, that's how I'm going to see. I'm going to sell a fight based off that. It may get people's interest. It may get the millennials to watch boxing. That may be a marketing play right there, but I don't agree with it.
That's a sad indictment, Dan. That's a sad indictment.
I mean, honestly, I doubt it'll really bring that many people to watch. I mean, it'll probably bring some people to watch on Instagram, like the aftermath of the highlights and shit like that, but not to watch the actual fight necessarily.
Well, you know what? Let me look at Tekashi's fight. He got a big fight.
The type of people that are like big fans of Tekashi 6ix9ine. I get the sense that they're people that they do shit on their own time. Young millennials and such like Mike was talking about. They don't really have the patience to be watching full programs or full fights and things of that nature. So,
And if we're really going to be honest, those kind of millennials, they like MMA more than boxing anyway. So there you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Lack of attention span. Like, I don't even think they really watch MMA so much as they just catch some highlights of some shit after the fact.
Yeah. Well, let's break this down. Let's talk. Let's go. Let's
microwave programming.
Yeah, let's get to the fight.
Who the type of people that, like, you know, the reason why Instagram and you got like the people that are celebrities on some of these platforms that, you know, you only do a 5 to 20 second video and that's all they really have the attention for.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, we'll see what happens. The fight is this Saturday. I'm picking I'm picking Vargas to win it slightly, but you know, who do you guys? Mike, start with you. Who do you see winning this fight?
I talked about this on my show last night, and I have to be completely honest here. I'm pretty meh on this fight. I'm pretty indifferent. We know the situation with Broner. Vargas hasn't impressed, in my opinion, at all recently. They're going to fight. You're going to have a winner. I don't see much of a future there for either guy. I would lean slightly towards Vargas because say what you want about him, at least he's consistent in there.
Yeah.
At least he's shown some improvement over the past few fights. It's going to be interesting to see how Body Snatcher McCallum, what he can implement into Jesse Vargas in terms of style, and how will that play into this fight. But again, I'm not that excited about it. I'm pretty meh, to be honest. It wouldn't matter to me who won. I'll be more impressed if you actually have some decent action in there.
Yeah, I hear you. Fair point. Dwayne, what about you, man? How do you see this matchup?
I'm going for Broner. I just feel like Broner, if he's not trying to be like Floyd and he can go forward and actually fight, I think he'll just be a bit too much for Vargas. I don't really rate Vargas, to be honest. I don't think Vargas has anything that can really... If you look at the fights Broner's lost, you would say that the people that he's lost to have actually got something that they can do to bother him. I don't see what Vargas does that really bothers him, to be honest. But if he sits back on the ropes and tries to be like Floyd the whole night, he's going to lose that fight. But if he actually comes forward and actually throws punches, then I think he'll win the fight. But like I said, I'm not really... Like, this fight was just like... Because Adrien Broner is like a clown, to be honest. So it's like a press conference fight, to be honest. And then when you get to the fight probably be boring as hell. Yeah,
it kind of remind me of Jermaine Taylor and the Corey Spinks fight back in 2006 when that press conference was heated because Edison Miranda was the one who kind of, got into Jermaine Taylor's head, and Jermaine Taylor went off in the press conference, and then when he got into the fight with Corey Spinks, it was bad. I mean, credit to Spinks.
That's what I mean.
Oh, man, HBO shit on Corey Spinks so bad.
Oh, yeah.
If you watch that commentary, if you watch the HBO version and the Sky versions of that fight, it is like one of the biggest night and day differences, you know what I mean, of the same fight you'll ever hear.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bad. I mean, it was not an exciting fight because Corey Spinks had the style that bothered Taylor. Taylor couldn't do what he wanted with Spinks. Couldn't even hurt him.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I mean, honestly, it sounded totally different.
Every style bothered Taylor. Jermaine Taylor did not have a good boxing IQ. Every style.
He did. That's true.
He fought the wrong fight against pretty much everybody he ever fought.
Yeah, Kelly Fowler against Carl Fritz. You're winning the fight, and you still want to get in a tear up in the 12th round. You know what I'm
saying? He went in there trying to box Corey Spinks, and he went in there trying to slug with Kasim Uma.
I know, that was terrible. Why would you do that, man? I mean, yeah, Jermaine didn't have good boxing IQ. He did have good wins. He was a good fighter, but he just didn't have that IQ.
Emmanuel Stewart was screaming at him.
And he wouldn't do something as simple as pick his fucking left hand up when he was fighting against Winky Wright.
Yeah. But you know what, though?
Stewart lost it during that Spinks fight.
Yeah. And Great Drake brought up an interesting point because Mike McCallum is actually training Jesse Vargas in that corner. So do you think we could be seeing a body attack on Vargas? in his fight that could bother Broner? Because
Possibly.
Broner don't.
I mean, Vargas is a guy with a bit of an identity crisis in terms of his style. He changes it up constantly.
Yes, true. That's true.
Sometimes he's an outboxer. Sometimes he's an infighter. Sometimes he's sitting on heavy punches. Sometimes he's slapping. It's odd. So I mean, yeah, maybe so. I mean, it might just be Vargas is one of those guys that he just kind of takes on the form of whoever happens to be training him at that given moment.
Yeah, Dan, that's what tipped my decision. I had to, you know what I mean? I was having the damnedest time picking it. Because I trust Vargas about as much as I trust Vargas's talent about as much as I trust Broner's focus. So I'm left with I don't know what the heck.
I mean, I think he's a talented fighter. He's a skilled fighter.
That's what I'm getting at. No, I don't think he has the natural gifts. I think he's got very excellent technique and excellent skills.
Mm-hmm.
Vargas.
Yeah.
And Broner's like the exact opposite. He's got natural gifts, but he doesn't have the focus and the refined technique and all that.
Yeah, boy, there's another thing we got to talk about. Superfly. Carlos Cudras got suspended by the WBC. And he's just, even though he never tested positive for any anti-doping test, they still suspended him because, according to Cudras, they said that he allegedly used a recreational drug, and this was brought up to the Clean Boxing Correct Committee, and they wanted to test Cudras for that drug, and he refused to undergo that test.
What was he, popping mollies or what
I don't know. That's smoking weed or something. I don't know. That's what it was. That's what it looks like. I don't know, recreational drugs. So, but Quadras is going to have a hearing in the WBC office.
That's pretty amusing. 25th. Like, not even signed for a fight. Uses uses some, I don't know, whatever he used, and then he gets in trouble. But
yeah, that is awkward.
Meanwhile, Canelo
got another guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Quadras just said that he accidentally ate some brownies that he didn't know. I didn't know
that. Yeah, he knew he was going to tell that.
Yeah, he was up here in Washington now. We got those tainted brownies up here.
Well, let's put it this way. I think they're gonna clear him up, and he's got a hearing next week. He's gonna go to Mexico City at their office, the WBC office. And they're probably gonna clear him up and say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lift your suspension, but next time when we ask you to test for something, test it. All right. Don't be what's called rebellious. That's probably what they're gonna do. They're gonna reinstate him.
Uncooperative?
Yeah.
I love that how they're like saying Canelo's been cooperative. I'm like, what is cooperative here?
Well, I just found out Canelo never been involved with the CPP. I'm like, what? He never been enrolled for the CPP the whole time. So the only time he ever tests for VADA is that they'll test him once and that's it. They never randomly test the guy. That's what I'm finding out right now. Like, what's up? What'd you say?
I was gonna say maybe cooperative means he's like showing up at Suleiman's friends' birthdays and quinceañeras and shit.
Pretty much.
Like, hey,
pretty
Canelo,
much.
there's Canelo.
Yeah, pretty much indeed. Now let's shift the conversation. Yeah, let's shift the conversation a little bit. Now, Dillian White's supposed to be returning to fight on the 21st of July at the O2 in London, and they don't have an opponent yet. So, what are you guys' thoughts about that, and who you think he's gonna be fighting? Anybody can jump in.
I don't know. I've heard rumors of the opponent. I can't remember the guy's name now, but for me, if he's not going to get this fight against Wilder, Dillian White, I'm not mad at the fact that he's staying in the ring. He's staying active. He is a guy with personality and a mouth that's good. It's good for the sport. He talks a lot of trash. He says a lot of this, but he does it in a way that doesn't make him come off as a buffoon.
Right.
But ultimately, for me, when it comes to Dillian White, the activity is the key for me. I'm not mad at he continues to fight until he gets his title shot.
Yeah. Well, the rumor mill is that it's been reported that Eddie Hearn's negotiating him and Kubrat Pulev for that date.
That's the guy, Pulev.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad fight, and the IBF did order that to be the final eliminator, and the winner of that fight becomes the mandatory, the number one challenger to Joshua's title.
So he'll be a dual Mando then if he wins.
Yeah, it'll be a dual Mando. Well, the WBC won't mandate his fight with Wilder probably till another few months.
Is it Povetkin a dual Mando too, or did he choose one of them?
No, he is. He's a dual Mando. He's a dual Mando for the WBA and the WBO. And we already know the WBA has ordered that fight with him and Joshua, and they have 2 weeks to come up with an agreement.
Yeah.
All I know
they're overlooking Manny Char.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. What I'm hearing,
that's right. Is it Char that's lurking around with one of them WBA trinket belts?
Yeah.
The
interim regular vanilla,
Yeah, that one.
Medium.
Well, actually, Char is actually scheduled to fight Francis Kendo, and that fight is scheduled way in September.
Fried Nintendo.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, he's scheduled already.
I mean, just why? Why?
I don't know, man.
Hey, at least I know that night. I'm not gonna have a difficult time finding a way to.
I mean, Francis Kendo is Social Security age, man. He's boxing's AARP. He's 2 days older than him.
Come on. Gonna start making videos again, man.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna record that. I'm gonna record that and use that as a nightcap, man. Anytime I'm having trouble falling asleep. Hey, Francis Kendo versus Manny Char. That's just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, just watch that fight instead of taking no-dos.
Well, I think we all know though Kendo sued the WBA years ago, and that's for due to a ranking dispute. That's the reason why they kept him there for 4 years.
That's why he keeps getting all these opportunities from them. Okay.
Yeah, he filed a legal action against him a few years ago. I mean, several years ago, I should say. And
so not exactly the makings of a classic in your eyes, guys. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. Here's a guy who hasn't fought in 4 years, and he's still ranked. That's remarkable.
That's worse. I know he's worse than Pulev that way, man. It seems like Pulev hasn't fought in forever.
Yeah, Pulev has been a little bit more active obviously more active than.
I said Pulev. It just seems like he hasn't fought in forever. Yeah. Whereas in Fried Nintendo's case, it literally has been forever.
Right. So that's the reason why Manuel Char can't get a fight with Joshua right now because of that situation. And that's why they moved. The WBA went ahead and moved Povetkin.
Whoa. So Francis Kendo is blocked.
Yeah. He's blocked, bro.
I've seen it all.
Well, I expect Char to massacre him in 6 months. So let's just get that. I wish they could have scheduled that fight a lot sooner, but Jesus.
Francis Kendo with the political power play.
I mean, Char got 6 months to train. I mean, damn, that's way too long to be training for a fucking fight. Excuse my language, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's why Povetkin, the Joshua Povetkin situation, they got 2 weeks to come up with an agreement. And when I said on top of the show, I just said that, you know what? I think Joshua's they're gonna lose that first bid. They're not gonna come to the agreement, and they're gonna go to a first bid, and Povetkin's team is gonna win it. They're not gonna outbid them.
Are they gonna drop the belt, or are they gonna go to Russia? What is it? What does everyone think? I keep getting a lot of different opinions.
Well, that's the whole thing at this point. It's just speculations and opinions. I also heard. I think there was a story that. Let me see if I can bring it up. There was a Sky Sports official, that's actually advising Joshua to vacate the belt. Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna bring it up right here. Let me see. WBA Povetkin. Let me see. I think there was a Sky official.
Damn, if he's got the network telling him to drop the belt, that's serious shit.
Yeah, let me see. Povetkin vacate. I think. Let me see. I'll find the story here. But yeah, I saw the article.
From their perspective, they see Povetkin as just more trouble than it's worth. So.
Well, we got Francis Kendo blocking title shots. We got Sky telling the champ to drop a belt. Boxing.
Yeah. That's the thing though. Because here's the thing though. You gotta look at it in one perspective. The funny business that's going on in Russia. We all know what's going on there, and I could understand why Joshua and her don't want to go to that.
Yeah, Usyk knows what's going on there.
Yeah, Usyk knows too. Yeah, exactly. I was going to talk about that. He came out and said...
I love the way Usyk phrased that. Well, they could have the fight in Russia, but it's not going to have Usyk in it.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That was funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Usyk straight up came out. You know, it's funny because I find it convenient that he announces an injury, so that pushes back the fight with him and Gassiev, right? Because I think he announced it as soon as the news came out. Before the news came out, that they're staging to move. They're planning to move the location from Saudi Arabia to Russia. When he found out about that, he's like, "Oh hell, no, fuck that! I'm gonna just go ahead and postpone this fight until I can, buy me some more time."
Listen,
Well, see what he
about,
did. What he
about
did.
that. He'd rather fight in Saudi Arabia than Russia.
What he did was Usyk was on his computer, right?
Yeah.
He was looking up the news and stuff, and he saw that that was going to happen. They were going to relocate the fight to Russia, and then he just fell back in his chair and he injured himself. So
I know that's what it was.
He was astonished at the news.
Hey, it's funny though. He came out. He came out and said that you'll see me back in the ring about June or July, but you're not going to see me in Russia. Forget that. He just made that clear. I am not going to fight in Russia. You can kiss my ass. I'll back out of the tournament. He's like, I'll back out of the tournament if I have to. But forget that. I like, damn, this is he's Ukrainian. I mean, I thought the Russians and Ukrainians, they have some political issues, but anyhow,
still, man, Saudi Arabia,
they have some severe political issues, man.
Saudi Arabia.
I'm sure you've seen that video of people freaking throwing punches at Vitaly Klitschko on the street.
Citizens. Yeah. Citizens are trying to throw hands on Vitaly. Are they crazy?
Yeah, I was going to say just ask Vitaly Klitschko about the issue with Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, with Sergei, what's his name, Viktor Yanukovych's regime at that time when they were protesting against it. I remember that. But
that's what I'm saying. Saudi Arabia is not exactly a safe place. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's not biased though. It's
no,
not
I know.
biased.
That's what I'm saying. It puts it in perspective that he's like he'll totally go to Saudi Arabia
and
before he goes to Russia.
Even in countries that have some war issues and things of that nature, there's always safe spots within those.
Yeah, that's safe havens.
If you got enough money, yeah, for sure.
Well, hey, look, the WWE is hosting their greatest Royal Rumble over in Saudi Arabia in the next few weeks, a couple of weeks. So, I mean, look, here's the thing, though. Yeah. But like I said, you can understand Joshua and Hurt's position. They're like, like I said, they're being advised to vacate the belt. I hope they don't do it. I mean, I hope they go through it. I really hope they do it. I think Joshua can win that fight. But he's going to have to go in there and knock out Povetkin. He's got to do it. And I would advise him to get random-style drug testing for that fight. I'm not taking any chances on Povetkin. Forget that. You order random-style drug testing for that fight. Okay? But we got a couple weeks.
Man, if he drops that belt, it's going to be night of the living Povetkin fanboys. They're going to be back like fucking zombies out of the ground, man.
Oh, yeah. They'll be coming back. Yes, trust me. They will be coming back. Yeah, but we'll see what happens there, man.
If Joshua vacates, then the Wilder fight, people won't look at it as, we want to do it to see it's undisputed. They just be like, we just want to see the fight now. That's how it turned out to be.
No. But the Povetkin fanboys they're gonna insist that Povetkin's the quote unquote real champ. Just,
the boogie
you
man.
can book it.
The people's champion.
The bookie.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. The problem is that if he does vacate that belt, it will kind of maybe lose some steam for the unification bout between him and Wilder, Joshua and Wilder. People are going to be upset about that. It's like, dude, all the belts not going to be on the line. There's no undisputed championship. So, I mean, it's still going to garner some interest, but it's just going to lose a lot of steam because we haven't had a undisputed heavyweight champion in 20 years. Or 18 years, is all you could say. Or, about 18 years. No, about 20 years. 19 years, I'm sorry. About 19 years. So, it's like when you do that, now it takes a back seat. It has a setback. We got to wait longer. Now you got Povetkin, who could have a chance of winning a vacant belt. He's going to hold that title in hostage to Russell as long as he can. So that's going to be a problem.
Rybinsky's money, that's going to be a long time. Long time. It's going to be lurking out there.
Yeah, but still, people want to see those two in particular fight each other.
Right.
Yeah, you may have
Well,
minus the
all of
belt.
us won't. None of us will care, Mike. I agree completely. But those weirdo Povetkin fans, quote unquote, they're the ones that are going to be
Well,
like,
they're delusional. No offense, but
yeah, that's true.
they don't
That's
care
true.
that
Yeah.
much. But
We
still,
can leave them on that. Yeah, we'll leave them in their corner.
Yeah.
they are in their own island. Let them be in their own island and speak.
Yeah.
People with sense know better.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny to me the Povetkin people. It's like they act like the Vladimir Klitschko fight never just didn't happen. Like he just didn't get completely owned by him every round of that fight.
Povetkin people.
Yeah.
Nyota. I know we talked about this before. You still defended that performance, man.
He got owned by him. He got
Yeah.
owned by Klitschko.
Oh yeah, get thrown around and then get your
He got
leaned
No,
on
no,
you.
Dan,
I'm gonna bring out internet. I'm bringing out internet slang on you now too. He got pwned by Vladimir Klitschko. He got fucking pwned by him.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Get pwned.
Now they're even using the terms of the times of the fight happened.
Well, let's put it this way, man. If AJ vacates that belt, I'll be very upset. I'm gonna be honest with you. If vacate that belt, you give Povetkin a chance to win it in a vacant fashion. He more likely could win it in a vacant fashion, and he's gonna hold that.
I say just fight Povetkin, and Povetkin's not as good as people fucking act like, regardless of whether he's in Russia or not. Vladimir Klitschko fought his ass in Russia, beat the shit out of him in Russia. Joshua would do the same.
I don't think anybody's worried about Anthony Joshua's ability to defeat Povetkin in the ring. I think people are more concerned about a whole bunch of other stuff, and or if it goes the distance.
Yeah,
I'm not.
That's what we're worried about.
I'm more upset at the fact that Povetkin is fighting. The fact that he has such power, he's able to finagle his way around because of his connections.
Well, Michael, it's not even just that.
No, it's not even just that. I mean, because none of these guys get punished.
He fought the same day. He fought the same day that he popped Dirty, pretty much, didn't he? Yep. When he pulled DeHopis out of the front row and beat him up.
Yeah, with DeHopis. Yeah, that's the same day he got bopped for Osterate. That's an anabolic steroid, similar drug.
Pull him out of the crowd. Like pro wrestling.
And the dude that he fought didn't even have boxing shoes.
It was something like bowling shoes and shit, man. That was messed up.
We go to local bowling alley and we give you shoes.
Yeah,
that's what they did with DeHopis, man.
I know that was fucked up. That was bizarre. Look at that. I'm like, whoa, this dude got some tennis shoes with he's boxing in.
And the best part was how the crowd didn't give a shit. They didn't give a fuck. They were just like, you know what I mean, totally into it. Like they got exactly what they wanted.
He had some old Air Max 95s on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens from there, man. Let's just hope Anthony Joshua makes the right decision. We'll go from there. But last thing I want to ask, I'm going to get into Donna Netes real quickly. The small weights for you guys, Mike and Nyota. Donna Netes vacated his flyweight belt. He's going up to Superfly. Good move. I think it's a good move. What do you guys think?
That's a financial move. He's trying to get the
financial moves
that come along with fighting against the Superflies. Unfortunately, in the past, he missed out on opportunities. I think largely due to his promoter, Villamor, being a little bit overprotective of him, and being able to take fights with Chocolatito and Kazuto Yoka and a couple other notable names that were primarily based out of Japan, where he could have made some good money. But he's trying to. It looks like they're trying to cash in now, and I mean, the thing is, he doesn't necessarily have a ton of wear and tear on him. He's always been pretty well preserved. In spite of the fact that he's fought some really tough opponents. And so, he's also not exactly a small guy either. I saw he was 124 fight night when he fought Revico. So that was actually
he was pretty big.
I didn't
he was pretty big. Yeah, he was pretty big for a flyweight going into that fight against Revico. But I mean, look, he doesn't have wear and tear. He's got some good wins. I mean, very tough wins. Sosa, Garcia, Revico, Vargas.
Well, and it's also the right time too, because Inoue just vacated the WBO Superfly belt, and so he'll be in line to potentially win that. The top two is him and Austin Palikte, and Palikte is a very skilled fighter, I think a dangerous opponent for Nietes, because of how quick and agile and explosive he is. But at the same time, that's I think evened out with Nietes' overall level of experience. I think that's a good fight if that winds up being the fight for the vacant belt, though. But otherwise, most of the other guys that are ranked in the WBO, I think he'd be able to beat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's gonna be a good. He's definitely a great addition to the super flyweight, a damn stacked super fly division. I mean, Chocolatito's making his return on the undercard of Golovkin and Martirosyan fight, and from what I've been hearing, that fight actually selling a lot of tickets right now. Is it because Chocolatito's on that card, or you think it's Golovkin's popularity? What do you think?
I think it helps that Gonzalez is on the card. I mean, he definitely pulled a lot of fans for his fights at the StubHub. The Superfly cards and when he headlined and everything, and Pedro Guevara is a guy that I mean, even though he's not a particularly well-known crossover fighter necessarily, he is pretty much the premier Mexican fighter fighting on Cinco de Mayo. Yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of people looking to see if he can be the one to break the streak that Gonzalez has over the likes of Estrada Quadras. And so
I mean, you got to give Guevara props because he's moving up 2 weight classes. He's jumping straight from flyweight. I mean, from light fly to super fly.
Yeah, I mean, he has fought at flyweight before though, too. In some non-title fights, and against really good opponents. And he arguably deserves to be undefeated. Right. He has a split decision loss to Shiro in Japan, to Kimura in Japan, and another one to Casimero, who Casimero is one of the top super flyweights. So I mean, it's not outside the realm of overall competitiveness that he would be in there fighting against Gonzalez. As a matter of fact, honestly, I think he looms as a pretty dangerous opponent for him. Not so much in terms of like as a knockout threat necessarily. But
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Technical threat. I think Guevara is actually the most technically sound boxer at those lower weights, maybe save for Estrada.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about this. This is kind of like This is a dangerous tune-up. I'm gonna be honest with you for Chocolatito. I'm like, why is he taking this type of tune-up?
Though the one thing that you can say for Guevara though is he is a little bit vulnerable to the body, and Gonzalez is a great body puncher. So
that's kind of tailor-made for his style. So.
Well, there's at least a weakness there. I wouldn't say tailor-made, but there's a weakness there that he could potentially exploit. But at the same time, he could be in trouble in there too because Guevara's a great, very sharp counterpuncher.
Well, I would say though, Gonzalez will at least have the size advantage. He'll be able to impose his will and power over an opponent that he hasn't been able to do in a while. I mean, so Ramos, he couldn't do that with him, but he can finally do it with Guevara. I mean, Mike, what do you think about this matchup? Or what Nietes moving up, and what do you think about Chocolatito's opponent, Guevara?
Let me deal with the Nietes situation first. Kind of sucks that it happened so late in his career, but I agree with just about everything Nelson says is a good move at this point. Going for big fights, going for the money. You look at the 115-pound landscape. What we just saw was Superfly 2 and SSR and Estrada. It looks like Ancañas and Calify is going to fight a unification bout later on this year. Nietes, he wants to be in that mix, and I'm not mad at him for. I'm not mad at that. Get the big fight. He has the skill level to compete with that, and so it's all to the good for me in terms of Estrada. In terms of Chocolatito. Decent opponent. The guy he's fighting. Good, solid guy. Nels is right. He's a little bit weak up the gut. Chocolatito may be able to take advantage of that. I don't know the weight that this fight is going to be held at on the 5th. Let me add. Okay.
Superfly.
Okay. Let me add into in addition to Chocolatito on this undercard, there's a rumor going around that Cecilia Brækhus, top woman pound for pound fighter in the world, may also be on that card. So look out for that as well.
Oh, really? Really? Let me see. Does she have a fight schedule on that card or?
Yeah, she's listed on BoxRec on it. I don't think the opponent's been announced yet, though.
I've been hearing that. She may indeed be on that card. It's nothing finalized, but at least there are rumors out there. I will say that.
The first lady.
I think one of the reasons being that the card was barely finalized itself that it was even going to happen. So.
Well, I guess they're trying to, they're trying to get. Here's the thing: they probably know that Golovkin can't, do this alone. So he needs some good. You need a good undercard to get people to come over there and make some money off make some profit off the ticket sales and get some good, decent viewership on HCL. So if they can get Cecilia Brackets on there, hell yeah, I'll watch it. I ain't gonna lie, I'll go and watch it. Chocolatito's making his return, so it's looking like a good card the way they're shaping it up. But obviously, the main event is the one people criticizing. I mean,
And
the
let
main
me say,
event.
excellent job of trolling by Jordan Brand and especially Abel Sanchez doing that commercial.
that was really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great commercial.
Yeah, well, them dudes. Well, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I gotta get some reports done. I'm about to get some sleep. I thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate you. So, shout out to Mike from Bound for Pound Boxing Report. You guys don't know who he is. Please check out his channel, subscribe. His shows come on weekly, so please check it out. Very good information on that. Shout out to Nyota as always, Mr. Doc as always, and Dwayne. I know he was here for a second ago, but he jumped off. Hit to my commenters in the comment section. Ross Clock 222, the knucklehead. I'm just fucking with you, Ross Clock. Great drink. 1224529. Who else we got here? Well, let me see. Ambitious D. What we got here? How else we got here? Chills. Rock 89. Kiwi Box. Hop. Which is Peanuts and Crackers. Fox Stripes. Shia Beckley. Olaf the Mighty. And Marcus R. So all you guys, I appreciate you for
Ortiz
coming in.
beats The Rock.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Ortiz versus Parker. Oh man,
Versus The Rock.
Let's put it this way: before we close this out, I don't see Joseph Parker getting the ring with Ortiz. I don't see that happening. I don't think his handlers would even want him
Sadly,
to
you're
go.
probably right.
Yeah, they're not gonna put him there.
We can hope.
Yeah, we could hope. But until then, guys, until next time, Mr. Doc, stay on here for a second. We out, y'all. Peace.
Peace.